Hello, everyone! Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap! Dun dun dun! It is, where are we here? I think it's, is it Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday, the 11th of February. Tuesday's kind of a fun day at TRI. We have our Options Club meeting. And actually, I was really pleased to bang out a double on a recent options trade that we did on Riot. So feeling pretty good about that. And actually, it was really cool. Not only do we review options, but of course we go through all the fundamental models and stuff that we use to screen stock ideas. And also we look at deribit options on things like Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it's a really cool, fun little club that we have every Tuesday night. So that is tonight's event at TRI. And as you can see, I haven't quite finished the update process here from Fjord. Still working on dashboard data, so this isn't quite usable yet. But nonetheless, we had a great daily brief today. Julian was reporting in from Bali. What a life, eh? But showing us great pictures and, of course, talking markets, RSIs and Keltner channels and Tom DeMark's counting methodology. So it was a really great report from Julian today. As always with this free broadcast, I like to keep the conversation relatively 54 now. We'll get to a stock in a moment that's gone absolutely apeshit here this morning. I sure hope you guys were able to get some. Because nonetheless, needless to say, Brian's kind of giddy today. But anyway, so I like to have this conversation with you guys. Just keep the conversation relatively simple. Try and look at sort of what's going on in the broader picture and see if we can put it into context, especially in our fun little universe of crypto. First and foremost, important to note, today is Chairman Powell's semi-annual, I don't even know whether they still call it Humphrey Hawkins, but anyway, semi-annual testimony in front of Congress. Mr. Powell basically giving a sort of an update to Congress as to how the economy is looking from his perspective. So in a weird sort of way, it's going to be awfully tough to strap on new shorts in the face of that. So I think a lot of market participants are just sort of treading water right now until he's done. And interestingly enough, we've talked lots about U.S. dollar index. Mr. Powell even referenced today that, if coronavirus gets absolutely out of control, we are ready to cut interest rates. Which maybe the market was kind of like, maybe we want to hear that the Americans want to raise rates, and as a result, U.S. dollar keeps moving higher. I think we've had this conversation for quite a while now that I do believe that the U.S. dollar is basically stuck in a trading range. I think you could make the argument back about a month or two ago if we just simply did reload zones off of this previous range. Seeing the market come down into this level here and ultimately put in bottoms, I don't think that's shocking. So on the flip side of the equation, we rallied back up to like 38.2s and we resolved trend lines. We actually reversed higher, and here we are now in reload short zones. You can sort of see the range game that they're playing here, and kind of a fun sort of juxtaposition to all this. I'm having a lot of fun with my chaos theory level sort of identification tool, and gee whiz, what a coincidence. Chaos theory would suggest that once we get up into 78.6s into this gap, we're probably going to start running into some serious resistance here. So, as I said just a moment ago, Chairman Powell kind of throwing a wet blanket on raising interest rates, maybe even threatening to lower interest rates. I think maybe in the market was even a bit surprised to hear him make direct reference to coronavirus and Fed policy. That was, I think, a little bit of a surprise to the market, and that's why U.S. dollar's coming off a bit here. I've talked to you guys at length recently about my concerns over European currencies. And I would imagine that maybe we're seeing a little bit of give back there on things like British pound and the euro. Where the hell are those damn charts? So let's see, British pound. We had kind of talked this about recently. We were kind of hoping that the pound would be putting in some sort of base here to set up a long trade. You can see they've moved the market to new lows here. So at best, I'm going to have to redraw my levels and start the count all over again. But, a little bit of an update. We're coming in off of this trend line. So not a big surprise. There's a bit of a fight here. We're also below value based on this. So, maybe a little bit of a reprieve for the Brits here. I also noticed, too, Jamie in our little competition who's calling markets. I did notice that you can see the British stocks themselves are trying to put an inverted head and shoulders pattern here. And, of course, U.S. stock market's just on fire right now. So, maybe we're seeing a bit of give back there because things like the European, man, that European currency looks disastrously dangerous. But yeah, not a big surprise. In fact, and I didn't do this recently, but we probably maybe should take the time and do this now. It looks to me like we're coming into head and shoulders objectives here. So if we go boom, boom, and then do an extension off that. Yeah, so 200%, the head and shoulders top. This 109 area actually was your price objective. I would be very concerned now. You see they've taken the market down below these recent lows. That's going to start creating, oh my goodness, huge bearish AB equals CDs. But, over the short term, head and shoulders objectives being hit. Could we see some give back here? Considering US dollar up near the top end of its range, probably, if it is still a range, it's going to find some failure. Could we see some give back here, pull back? You see we are below value. You see where, it seems to be there's a bit of a notch right up in this area here on the profile. And if we do things like fibs, reload zones, let's see what we got here. Boom! 38.2 is going to basically be a fight here around 110 and change. And ironically enough, if you actually want to short the euro, and maybe this is my trade that I really want to focus in on, 112.12. If I can get a rally back up into the top here above value, I should really get serious about hunting some long-term put options on the euro. But over the short term, I could see some give back, and as the U.S. dollar is looking a little bit, near the top end of its range, looking a little heavy here. Risk on, risk off. Interesting. Risk off is looking a little bit heavy. We've talked lots, of course, about the fact that I do like the bond short idea up top here. And, of course, I got one more put still on the books, months left in its life. But I kind of fat-fingered the trade there. Gold just going sideways. And, in Daily Brief, we pulled up the gold charts and all that. If this is a distribution, it would be very cliche. If we M out here, don't be surprised. And, something like Newmont, if we M out here and have to fill in all these gaps, don't be surprised. Maybe we get another push higher here. We do have 1 low, 2 lows, 3 lows, 4 lows. Things are starting to firm up, but there just is no trade for me to do here today. And I've been sort of saying that same thing for a while. I'm just sort of just watching gold right now. Stocks, as I've sort of pointed out recently, and I do believe this from the bottom of my heart, that stock market actually, I think, is going into the same face rip up mode that we saw in crypto in 2017, and this probably won't end until we get into the summer, maybe even late summer, early fall. If they do have to back the market up, I think we have pretty clear support lines here. This low, this gap, the old breakout highs. But it's not today, and I wouldn't plan on it for today. But, if a top does develop up here, okay, well, I suppose I could borrow that. But I'll show you a stock here in a moment. Don't get in front of this stock market, or you might just get your head handed to you. So be careful about shorting. I've talked to you guys also, too, recently. Middle of February, buy your unleaded middle of February, sell it middle of May, make money 9 out of the past 10 years. I am watching for an energy bottom in here, but I will say there has been some interesting technical damage that's been done to this energy market. Hopefully everybody looks at this and goes, oh, gee whiz, that looks like a big honking smiley face there. So, and remember also, too, I have to keep repeating this even to myself. The fall of 2017, that was in here. This was technically the end of the commodity cycle, right in here. So for us to actually start seeing, M's on like higher time frames and the market actually starting to work its way back down, ultimately I could easily see crude trade back down $5-10 a barrel, maybe in the next 10-15 years. We do have to respect the fact that we are getting some nasty technical signals here. There is damage being done to this market technically. So we can't call a bottom until the bottom has actually come in. And of course, Brian, he loves following his W's to tell us that bottoms are coming in. So we look at price. They brought the market right down against these lows here just yesterday. A little bit of an update. When we do start seeing the W's come in, then we'll know, okay, a seasonal pivot. Buy your unleaded middle of February, sell it middle of May, made money 9 out of the past 10 years, blah, blah, blah. But I think I have to start actually tempering my enthusiasm about getting too bullish about commodities. Like once this seasonal rally is done, I think it's probably best just to hop off and get out of oil. Gotta tell you, the writing's on the wall. I can start to see the growth story starting to come back. And here, my friends, of course, which is music to all your ears, is exactly, well, I think this is going to be one of the major growth drivers for the next 10-15 years. The world will basically move to the blockchain. Get ready for it. It's coming 100 miles an hour. I told you earlier this was an options trade. I went and picked up some call options through the tax loss selling season. And this is the great part about playing options is that, this is like a $2 call option, so it's still a mile out of the money. And what do you think? We got any shot of this thing working up above $2? I think this is a slam dunk, but this is just my opinion. But here, actually, I bought the call options at like 20 cents. And I got a nice little sell half on a double, establish a risk-free trade here. The option's still out of the money. But because it's got so much time left on it, and this concept called implied volatility, in essence, I was able to double my money, get my original capital back in my hands. I have no risk on this trade whatsoever, and now I've got basically about 4 or 5 months of free time here. So great analogy of using options to sneak your way into sort of medium-sized stocks, and then of course I mentioned this stock repeatedly, day after day after day, to the public. I don't know whether anybody listened to me or not, but holy sheep shit. This is exactly what I'm trying to get all you people to see is, seasonal lows, buy when it snows, sell when it goes. Great part about this one is they completely restructured the company, rolled stock back, all that kind of fun stuff. Beautiful technical bottom. I mean, just absolutely textbook. And in fact, actually, I even think this is probably like a weekly W. All right, you can actually see the W on a weekly basis. Obviously, I don't think it's a good idea to be buying now. As you know from Brian, and if you watch my tweets, banging out doubles, sold half on double my purchase price, and now I have a risk-free trade on this thing for the rest of my days. So, and you tell me, does this thing have any room to run up here at all? So, needless to say, I'm feeling pretty good today. That's a half-decent day. Ay, caramba. Crazy capitalism. Point here is you got to put yourself into a position to be able to take advantage of this. And if you I think I told you guys recently, ironically, the secret to making money in the market isn't really that much of a secret. It's actually staring you right in the face, market participants. I mean, it's my pleasure and it's my privilege to point this stuff out to you. But really, the hard part about this whole game is actually executing. It is actually building a plan and saying, if this stuff happens, I execute. And here's just a great example. There's tons of people I know that are, they looked at this today and went, oh man, Beamish, she's so smart. Oh no, I'm not that smart. All I am is I just identify. Remember, I've been doing this forever. So I just identify what works for me, and when I see it, man, I act and I go in, right? And I just do it. So, I love tooting my own horn. Who doesn't? Was very, very pleased with this price action today. And needless to say, again, I think I've told you guys before, the key to making money at this game is if this, and in this particular case, I actually bought this bar right here because at one point this was a big green candle. And I was like, W's, W's, W's. And, I think I even maybe went in a little bit too fast, too hard. Not too hard. You know me, I don't take big bets. But, went in a little bit too hasty. But the long and short of it here is I was going to risk against that low. And if it did crap out and fail, then I would have walked away. But the key here, guys, really, you've heard me say this before. If this was a loser, that would have basically been my risk. This is a winner. That's my win. Is this circle bigger than this circle? That's the secret to this game, guys. That's simple. So, as you can see, Brian's feeling pretty good today. Popping on over to the corn and crypto in particular. Not a heck of a lot's changed to this story. There's going to be some monkey business around these levels, no doubt about it. 50% level, wicks and tails like to be eaten. Huge traffic area. The irony of it all is if you look at this image and look at all the volume where it's traded, ironically enough, this is exactly where the most Bitcoins have been traded, what we call the POC. What scares me a little bit here, if you look at this chart, this profile, if we're ready to really start trending higher, this profile will look like a big square. And ideally, what actually we really want to see is it look like a parabola. But nonetheless, as you can see here, there's big holes in the profile that have me concerned. I don't know whether we're really ready to start exploring higher. And of course, I think I've shown you guys this recently. My sort of expectation through this part of the move is lots of fuckery. We do have that auction event coming up on the 18th. And I think as we sort of counseled you guys recently, we don't really have any confirmed divergences. There's no breakdown in RSI yet. Volume's still looking relatively positive. So for heaven's sakes, don't step in front of this and call a top because you might just get your head handed to you. At the very least, we have to start seeing from our indicators that, she's actually price isn't nearly as strong as you think it is. Usually what ends up happening, these big face rip moves up, everything will look insanely bullish, and then the break comes and it turns into a big red bar, and that's a big red down candle, like a volume bar, something along these lines, and then you look back and you go, oh, crap, there's the divergence, and why the hell did I go and chase that up there? So, go slowly here, everybody. And I still really like the idea of some sort of pullback into reload zones, fill in the profile to set up our next move higher. And I do see, for whatever it's worth, when I look at all my altcoin sheets, we're actually starting to see a lot of trending up signals. Now, usually when these moving averages cross, there's actually a bit of a check. You see this bear cross here and check. Maybe that's not the best example. Here, bear cross here, check. So if we are going to bull cross here, I actually think I like the idea of these moving averages being checked at some point here in the not too distant future. Again, don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. And I look at a lot of these altcoin charts and it's like, holy for a holies, these things have gone straight up. So don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. And if anything now, this is a perfect time if you are interested in these kind of names. Maybe you missed the move before. But you just have to slowly, and actually Kevin showed me this chart here today, which I thought made a lot of sense. I think we mentioned this recently. This is last year, people chasing, and then they have to spend the whole damn year watching the damn thing come right back down to the bottom. Lo and behold, everybody should see on this chart, this is Raven versus Bitcoin. So, be aware that that's what we're measuring here, not Raven versus USD. But nonetheless, what does that look like? That sure looks like a W to me. So this is the kind of name where I don't really have a problem if somebody says, well, I kind of want to join. I like this Raven story. I'd like to try and get in on this thing. Where should I be throwing some bids in? All right. So reload zones, you guys have heard me talk lots about that in the past. And what a coincidence, right? The 61.8 fib tag is basically going to be a stab back down into the block. I love, Mr. Hoagland, he absolutely loves if you can buy below value. So he'd have his stinky bids down in here. But really, I don't have a problem. Any kind of stab down into reload zones, we start hunting for signs of reversal. And I thought this was a really cool anecdote in that, of course, reload zones, boom, right back down the bottom end of its range. He's actually in a very acceptable investor window, if you will, now. And then I'm having a lot of fun with 4.669. What do we call that, Kevin? This is the beast, the beast's neighbor, right? Is that how it goes? I can't remember. I don't know whether Kavarkinator's even still on the call with me.
Neighbor of the beast.
The neighbor of the beast. I love that. That's awesome. That's now my. I always look for. Where the hell did the hangout go? Did I lose the hangout? Am I still in here? I guess I am. I just heard him. Kavarkinator here. I can't. Where the hell did I put it? Oh, here it is. Wow, way over there. Oh, there we go. All right. The neighbor of the beast. I love that. That's awesome. But this is such a fun, cool little tool because what you can see here is the market itself is actually telling you exactly where it wants to go. And the cool thing is you should look at this, and everybody should remember Brian's talks about horizontal support and resistance, and how levels, and how there's a bunch of trap bulls in here. They would love nothing more than to be released. And it's fascinating when you do this neighbor of the beast study. It's basically saying, look, we want to come up right up against these levels here. And the cool part about this is if this does catch, and these levels are accepted, and this big W starts firing, then actually that's painting an objective all the way up here, which ironically enough is just very natural, right up against previous structural fail levels. And my hunch is probably that's going to be like reload short zones. So I absolutely love the idea. If you can find multiple tools that sort of confirm levels, yeah, look at that. So now we can see that in essence what the market's saying here is, I'm going to go up and test these highs. If I can accept above these highs, start pushing above value and all that kind of talk, well, then it's probably a pretty good shot I'm going to go up and tag Mountain Man. Isn't that cool? So, a lot of people are actually a little bit curse at me for actually explaining this stuff to you guys. I should be selling this in a course. But, karma is karma. I'm having fun with this fun little tool, and it's a great way to look at the market. Just so, so cool. And of course, what have I got? Here's the thing, right? Is the universe gave me this little treat. And actually, this is a really good lesson for all of you people in life. Is the universe gave me this little treat. I stumbled upon it, and I was just like, wow. And I was just absolutely blown away. I've done so much work with fractals and price action in the past, kind of like what I showed you on that Ravenkind, the way it's sort of setting up, that it just made sense to me. It was like a missing piece of the puzzle that I needed, and the universe said, here you go, Brian. This, I think, will help you. And what did I do? Did I hoard it, covet it? No, you got to pay me money to learn this. No, I just sort of, hey, everybody, check this out. This is kind of a fun thing. And I think that this is the way the universe is rewarding me for my selfless actions here. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little too nostalgic, but in a weird sort of way, this is kind of like, I honestly believe, my wife came to me after she died and she said, Brian, you have an opportunity to make a really big positive difference in this world. And this is exactly what I think she was talking about. If I can help you, I've been at this stupid game for 30 years. I've learned a thing or two. Ironically enough, money doesn't really mean that much to me. What I really want to do is I want to make a positive difference in this world. I want people to go, that's a stand-up guy. And thank you for the help. That's what I want out of this. And in a weird sort of way, this is the universe rewarding me. It will take care of me if I try my best to try and help you guys. So, have yourselves a great afternoon. Try to play from a position of strength. Try and have some fun with this. Life's too short to be too stressed out. And ironically enough, if you can build your plan and just take all of the, what do I do, out of the equation and just trade your plan, you can actually have fun in this thing called capitalism. So, all right, everybody, have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. All the best, and bye for now.